When Judas Priest finished recording Sad Wings of Destiny, Rob Halford actually told Priest fans to burn down their copies of Rocka Rolla.
Can you believe that?
And so it is very symbolic that it is today, 50 years later, that Judas Priest have finally given us Rocka Rolla the way it was always meant to be heard. But is it actually the ultimate version? And how does it compare to this one? Or this one? Or the very first print of the legendary album? Well, let's see and find out. As well as here's something interesting from the guy who actually worked on this remix. Here you go. So first of all, huge thanks to the band for sending it over to me. Now let's get the ugly part out of the way, compare the different versions, and tell a couple of interesting stories about it that I've heard so far. Okay, how do you do it? Aha. Alright, here it is. So, this is the front, this is the back. Let's open it and see it in a little bit more details. I love it that on the sticker they kept the original Judas Priest logo, that they didn't change it. I think it's pretty cool actually. So, now, first of all, the colors are slightly different from the original one. Secondly, well, this is the first one, the first Rocka Rolla issue, as far as I know, that is actually opening up. Love it. We'll take a look at it in a moment. And this is the back. The back. I think pretty much all Judas Priest fans, at least those who follow our Defenders of the Faith series for quite a while now, know that the very first print of Rocka Rolla had the words, "Thanks for the words, Al," here. And this is pretty much the only way you can distinguish it. Not the only way, there are a couple of different ones from the later reissues of Rocka Rolla. For example, this one is also from 1973 or 1974, but it's not the first press, so it doesn't have that anymore. But this one also doesn't have it. But now we of course have remixes produced by Tom Allen over here. The infamous Tom Allen, the legendary Tom Allen, who's been working with Judas Priest on their iconic albums, and I think he actually did a great job on this remix sound-wise. And by the way, I did a very special episode analyzing the differences in the sound of the first and this edition of Rocka Rolla, and if you still haven't watched it, you definitely should after watching this video, because in my opinion, it is specifically when you look at it in perspective and comparing the two different versions, when you see how different they actually sound. Talking about the front cover, well, although it looks very, very similar, it actually is not exactly the same as the original one. And according to the liner notes at the back of the vinyl, the 2024 artwork update was actually given by Mark Wilkinson and Rebecca Baltidas. Yes, that same Mark Wilkinson, who is also responsible for some of the most iconic Judas Priest and Iron Maiden covers ever. But the biggest difference, of course, is in the back of the artwork, as in addition to the different liner notes, of which we'll talk in a moment, Rob Halford on this one is actually called Rob Halford for the very first time ever on a Rocka Rolla vinyl record. As in case you guys didn't know, on the original version of Rocka Rolla, Rob Halford was actually called Bob Halford. And this is exactly how the Judas Priest vocalist has been named on pretty much all of the future reprints of their debut album. In addition to that, on the back we have the list of people who worked on this production in addition to Tom Allen, those being Louis Stiliano, Graham Meek, and Matt Colton. And the thing is that I actually had a chance to speak to Louis about the process of working on this remix, and it was insane. Upon receiving the master tapes, they had to bake them at 49 degrees Celsius for 48 hours in order to reduce any moisture that had accumulated during storage and to ensure that the tape did not shed during playback. Of course, to avoid damaging such precious historical material. In addition, Louis remembers embarking on a fairly intensive treatment of noise reduction before the mix, deciding how much hiss he could remove whilst retaining the natural character of the recorded sound. As according to Louis, one of the most important and yet one of the hardest tasks set by Tom Allen for the team was to not only make Rocka Rolla sound heavier and more modern than the previous versions, but also to retain the original feel of the record and make it sound like what it actually should have sounded like if given a proper mix and master back in 1974, not in 2024. And if you ask me, the guys actually did an incredible job on this. And thus we come to the coolest and the most unique part about this release. The inner part. Here, in addition to several old photos most of Judas Priest fans have seen before, we have the lyrics to each of the songs, as well as a short statement from each of the band member, including nobody else but KK Downing, in which he also says that the archived original recordings of Rocka Rolla have amazingly been found, restored, and been given a new life. Remixed and remastered, the sound and performance of the band was unlocked in order to bring to the listener exactly what the band so desperately wanted everyone to hear all those years ago. And here I had to reach out to Louis once again to find out which songs exactly were on those original tapes the band obtained from Gull Records. And now we know for sure that in addition to the songs which originally made it to Rocka Rolla, the only other song which was fully recorded during those sessions was the original version of the Judas Priest cover on Diamonds and Rust, which, by the way, according to Louis, if restored properly, would actually have sounded much heavier than the one which made it on Sin After Sin. But in addition to all that, now we all have an official confirmation that the song which so many Judas Priest fans have been begging the band to release for the past 50 years now, the legendary Mother Son, was actually not recorded in the studio alongside Rocka Rolla, and the only recording available to it is hidden somewhere in the dungeons of Judas Priest. But that one was only a demo version and not a properly recorded in a studio version of the most mysterious Judas Priest song. Now, just like pretty much any modern Judas Priest release, or any modern release by a huge metal band, this Rocka Rolla edition comes in a variety of different colors and tastes, and I've gotten a limited edition blue version of the vinyl record, and it looks insanely cool. I honestly think that it's freaking amazing. I can't even say anything about it. The sticker, I really love it that the band has kept the original logo on this one, that they did not cave into the temptation of possibly changing it to especially the updated one, the 50th anniversary logo, and just kept it as original as possible, with the legendary Rocka Rolla sign, which according to all the rumors, got banned by Coca-Cola themselves, which actually is not true. Coca-Cola espuma. And when it comes to the sound itself coming from this vinyl record, well, I honestly had no problems with it at all. Quite the opposite. I actually believe that it is on vinyl that this version of Rocka Rolla opens up the best. Although, in all honesty, I didn't have a chance to listen to it on a CD. So if you own a CD, please let us know about the sound quality there as well. And by the way, as always, I'm leaving some links as per where you can order Rocka Rolla both in Europe and in the United States if you would like to purchase one as well. But as per me, I actually have gotten from this release pretty much everything that I wanted. And in my opinion, it is just a perfect tribute to a perfect album. Because yes, I've always said that despite its poor initial production, the musicianship on Rocka Rolla is incredible. And it is an essential part of the history of one of the greatest heavy metal bands on the planet. And even more, it is essential for the development of heavy metal as a genre. And thus I am really happy that 50 years later, and it is one of those things that it is Better to have it later than never. But Judas Priest have finally treated this album right. But what about you? What do you guys personally think about the remastered and remixed version of Rocka Rolla? Please let us know in the comments. And by the way, huge thank you to Judas Priest for sending this over to me. This was just a ray of light amidst the very dark days pretty much everyone in Ukraine is experiencing right now. And thank you guys, by the way, for all the hundreds of messages of support you've been sending to me over the last couple of days. I truly thank you guys for that. But as always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!